Aliens denied Earth a loan, so humanity bought the bank of them? The stars had once mocked Earth, a backwater rock scraping for galactic scraps. Now, one human woman carried the keys to their vault, her shadow alone enough to eclipse empires. Elena Mercer strode through the archway. Crystal spires arched overhead, refracting light from 1,000 suns into prisms that danced across the floor. The air hummed with the low thrum of transaction nodes, each pulse a credit shifting across voids. She adjusted her dark blue diplomatic cloak, its silver trim catching the glow like veins of comet ice. At 40, Mercer's frame stood tall and unyielding, her stern features etched by years of quiet wars won in code and compromise. Delegates turned heads as she entered. Scales rustled. Tentacles coiled tighter around data pads. From 47 star systems, they gathered here on Ledgera, the unassailable heart of Panarch Bank. Holographic displays flickered above them, streams of green code tracing trade flows through the invisible web of AxiomNet. Mercer's sharp gaze swept the room. She noted the subtle dependencies, the way every transaction lit up with Earth's embedded protocols. AxiomNet processed 90% of it all, a silent artery humanity had forged when doors slammed shut. A figure approached on a whisper of anti-grav. Felix Quill hovered at waist height to her, his green skin glistening under the lights like polished jade. Black eyes gleamed with calculation, his small frame no larger than a human head. As a high-ranking Mir official, he managed the flows that kept empires afloat. Arrogance clung to him like his tailored vest, but unease flickered in his hover disk's faint wobble. He recalled the denial a century back, Earth's desperate plea for a loan waved away as folly. "Ambassador Mercer," Quill said, voice a silken hiss. "An unexpected honor. Or is it?" Mercer's calm smile curved her lips. It held no warmth, only the precision of a blade sheathed. She let the silence stretch, watching his disk dip a fraction. The hint landed like a probe in deep space. Earth's power had shifted, vast and unspoken. Quill's eyes narrowed, but she offered no more. Not yet. The hall buzzed louder now. A Saurid delegate hissed orders into a comm, his reptilian tail lashing. Across the chamber, a Veyran envoy adjusted crystal lenses over multifaceted eyes, their display spiking with fresh alerts. Nomad traders clustered near a pillar, their ragged cloaks hiding data tats that synced to AxiomNet's pulse. Mercer moved forward, her boots echoing softly on the crystal floor. Each step pulled eyes, whispers rippling like solar flares. Quill fell in beside her, disk humming to match her pace. The Mir have stewarded these halls for eons. Our acumen built this nexus. Pride swelled his chest, tiny but fierce. "What brings Terra back? Another petition?" Mercer's smile deepened a fraction. "A historic mistake, Mr. Quill. One your people made." Her words hung, light but laced with gravity. Quill's voice faltered mid-boast, the air between them thickening. He glanced at the holograms, where transaction logs scrolled unchecked, each line a thread in Earth's web. She paused at the chamber's center. The vast dome overhead mimicked Ledgera's stormy skies, clouds swirling in projected fury. Below, the floor was etched with conduits that funneled power to the bank's core. Mercer felt the weight of it all, not as a burden, but as a canvas. Humanity had clawed from rejection, building in shadows while others feasted. Casually, she raised her wrist. The hollow device there activated with a soft chime, projecting a cascade of logs. Streams of data bloomed in midair, transaction after transaction stamped with the Terran Federation's emblem. It glowed on her cloak too, a rising phoenix etched in silver thread, marking Earth's ascent over the past 100 years. From colony outposts to nexus architects, They had woven quiet strength. Quill's black eyes locked on the display. Patterns emerged he couldn't deny. Diversions, optimizations, all routing through AxiomNet's core. His disk steadied, but his fingers twitched at his vest. Impressive parlor trick, but the Panarch dictates terms here. Does it? Mercer's tone stayed even, a diplomat's shield. The subtle shift rippled outward. Delegates leaned in, their own devices syncing involuntarily to her feed. A nomad trader muttered in awe, while a Veyran's lenses whirred, analyzing. Quill sensed the trap closing, slow and inexorable. The hall's hum seemed to sync to her device's rhythm, a heartbeat under the crystal. He gestured sharply toward a side arch. Private council chamber. Negotiations demand discretion. Mercer nodded, deactivating the holo with a flick. The data vanished, but its echo lingered in stares. She followed him through the arch, the corridor narrowing to polished obsidian walls veined with glowing conduits. Quill's disk led, but his posture hunched, arrogance cracking like thin ice. As the doors sealed behind them, Mercer's mind sharpened. She wasn't here to beg, as her ancestors had. No more. This was redefinition, the galaxy's rules recast in humanity's image. Fueled by ingenuity that turned denial to dominion, she stepped forward. The chamber awaited, a battlefield of words and code. Quill spun midair, facing her. The room was intimate, walls curving into a dome etched with fiscal runes. A central table hummed, ready for projections. Speak plainly, Ambassador. What does Terra want? Mercer's eyes met his, unblinking. The air cooled, charged with unspoken stakes. She set her case down, the click echoing. Everything you've denied us, and more. He hovered closer, disk whining faintly. Bold words for a species we deemed unviable. She let that sit. The centuries wound a spark in her chest, but she tamped it, focus laser sharp. The mirror had built walls, humanity tunneled beneath. Now the foundations trembled. Delegates outside pressed their ears to the doors, holograms flickering with rumors. A Saurid's claws scraped stone, impatience boiling. Quill ignored them, black eyes probing. Mercer's smile returned, serene as a void. The negotiation ignited. Quill launched into defenses, citing mirror ledgers spanning millennia. Transactions balanced, risks mitigated, all under their vigilant eye. His gesture swept wide, disk circling the table like a sentinel. Mercer listened, posture relaxed. She traced a finger along her cloak's emblem, the silver warming under touch. Earth's rise flashed in her mind. Outposts on hostile rocks, coders chaining knights into algorithms unbreakable. They had endured, innovated, while mere hoarded. You speak of stewardship, she said finally, voice cutting clean. Yet your ledgers hide voids. AxiomNet fills them now. Quill halted, disk freezing mid-turn. That primitive net? A curiosity, nothing more. Her laugh was soft, disarming. Curious how it threads every deal here. She tapped her wrist again. A sliver of log projected, a single thread pulling at mirror accounts. Credits dipped, then stabilized, rerouted seamlessly. His green skin paled a shade. The chamber's lights dimmed fractionally, as if the bank itself held breath. Outside, the hall's buzz crested, a Veyran envoy relaying to homeworld. Human returns, power shifts. Mercer leaned in, eyes locking. A mistake, you called our bid. History repeats unless rewritten. Quill's mind raced, shadows of old denial surfacing. The lone refusal, a footnote in mere archives, is now a noose. He waved it off. Semantics to business. But the shift was sealed. As they circled the table, Mercer's resolve burned steadily. Humanity's fire, banked for a century, now lit the stars. She would fan it, not with fury, but precision. The galaxy would bend or break. The door to the inner sanctum beckoned. Quill led, but hesitation marked his path. Mercer followed, case in hand. Inside waited the council's ear, but her words would echo farther, to the core of it all. Mercer's boots clicked on the obsidian floor as she entered the council chamber, a vaulted dome pulsing with soft blue conduits. The air carried a sterile hum, the scent of ionized circuits sharp. Felix Quill's hover disk steadied, but his black eyes darted, betraying cracks in his polished veneer. The chamber's central table glowed, its surface a canvas for projections. Mercer set her sleek suitcase down, its matte surface absorbing light like a singularity. She snapped it open, revealing a crystalline data core, facets glinting with encrypted streams. AxiomNet's heart, a human marvel, thrummed faintly. Quill scoffed, voice sharp as he hovered closer. A trinket ambassador? Earth thinks to monopolize on toys? His disk tilted, a calculated show of disdain. Mercer's lips twitched, a smile that cut. You mistake creation for conquest, Mr. Quill. A century ago, the mirror rejected our joint venture on AxiomNet. She tapped the core, and a hollow projection bloomed, galactic council seals shimmering in gold. Your error, our gain. The document spun in midair, clauses stark. All galactic debts, trade, and sanctions now validated solely through AxiomNet. Quill's green skin paled, his disk wobbling a fraction. Mercer's wrist device synced, and a real-time feed flared to life. Numbers cascaded. 12 trillion credits flowed daily through AxiomNet's veins, binding 300 star systems in Earth's invisible grip. The chamber's conduits flickered, as if the bank itself flinched. Extortion, Quill hissed, claws twitching. You chain us to your machine. Freedom costs, Mercer replied, voice steady as steel. She activated her comm, voice crisp. Saurid Alliance, this is the Terran Federation. 8 billion credits due now, or your trade routes close. A hologram flickered, revealing a Saurid leader, scales gleaming like molten bronze. His hiss crackled through. You dare, human? Claws flexed, but his tail drooped. A beat passed. Payment sent. AxiomNet's core pulsed, logging the transfer. 8 billion credits rerouted in seconds, seamless. Quill's disk dipped, his arrogance fraying. Mercer didn't pause. She keyed another channel. Nomad community, your merchant fleet's access is at stake. Offer terms. The grizzled nomad leader appeared, his face weathered, eyes sharp. 50 ships, he rasped. Full transfer for network rights. Mercer nodded. The core hummed, sealing the deal. 50 ships blinked green on the holo map, now Earth's. The chamber grew taut, alien delegates beyond the walls, whispering through comms. A Veyran envoy's lenses word, relaying to their emperor. Mercer's calm held, a lighthouse in the storm. She opened another channel. Veyran Empire, your debt. Rare isotopes and medical aid for 3 million refugees, Earth monitored. The Veyran leader, fast-setted eyes dimming, agreed in a low buzz. Isotopes logged, aid protocols synced. AxiomNet's pulse quickened, credits and resources flooding Earth's coffers. Quill's hover disk whined, a faint tremor. This is madness, he muttered, circling the table. You can't control the galaxy's lifeblood. Can't we? Mercer's tone was ice, her eyes fire. She leaned forward, the core's light casting shadows on her cloak. Your bank runs on our system now. Deny it and watch trade halt. The projection shifted, showing AxiomNet's reach. 90% of galactic commerce, from nomad freighters to Saurid war barges, threaded through Earth's quantum relays. Quill's claws dug into his vest, fabric straining. The chamber's hum grew louder, conduits glowing brighter as transactions surged. Mercer's thoughts flickered to Earth's century of toil, outposts on frozen moons, coders forging unbreakable algorithms in defiance of scorn. Humanity hadn't begged. They'd built. Delegates outside pressed closer, their holograms stuttering with alerts. A nomad trader's voice carried through the wall, awed. Earth's net binds tighter than Veyran chains. Mercer's lips curved. She let the room stew, silence a weapon. Quill tried to rally. The mirror built this bank. Our ledgers span eons. You're opportunists, nothing more. Mercer's gaze pinned him. Opportunists who offered partnership. You laughed. She tapped the core again, and a single transaction log flared. A mirror account, rerouted through AxiomNet, bleeding credits to Earth's terms. Laugh now. His disk spun, a frantic circle. The chamber's walls seemed to close in, conduits pulsing like veins under strain. Mercer stood unmoved, her cloak a banner of Terran resolve. She recalled the stories, Earth's first envoys, dismissed as primitives, the long nights coding AxiomNet while Mir hoarded wealth. Pride swelled, tempered by purpose. This wasn't vengeance, it was rebalance. The holofeed updated, Saurid payments cleared, nomad ships docked at Earth stations, Veyran isotopes loaded onto Terran freighters. The galaxy bent not by force, but by infrastructure. AxiomNet's core glowed brighter, a star in miniature. Quill's voice cracked. You've planned this. For how long? Mercer tilted her head. Since you closed the door. Her words landed softly, but they burned. She closed the suitcase, the snap echoing. We're just beginning, Mr. Quill. Outside, the hall erupted in murmurs. A Saurid delegate roared, tail thrashing, but his comm showed frozen routes. Veyran envoys recalculated, their empire's pride stinging. Nomads grinned, their fleet secure under Earth's terms. Mercer's device chimed, a new alert, another system pledging compliance. The net tightened. Quill hovered back, disk steadying as he fought for control. This chamber isn't your stage, Ambassador. The Mir Council will answer. Mercer nodded, serene. Call them, they'll see what you see. She gestured to the core, its light now a beacon. AxiomNet doesn't negotiate, it dictates. The chamber's conduits flared, a surge of data flooding through. 12 trillion credits shifted, rerouted, logged. Earth's emblem pulsed on every screen. Quill's black eyes widened, the weight of it sinking in. His people, 2 million strong, now danced on human strings. Mercer stepped back, letting the moment breathe. Her cloak caught the light, silver threads gleaming. She wasn't here to gloat. Humanity's triumph spoke louder than words. But the galaxy watched, and she felt their gaze shift. From scorn to scrutiny, from dismissal to dread. Quill gestured to a comm panel, summoning the Mirror Council. Holograms flickered, 12 figures materializing, their green faces stern. Mercer stood ready, the core at her side. The chamber's hum softened, a held breath. Her thoughts turned inward, brief but fierce. Humanity had clawed from ashes, not to rule, but to rewrite. AxiomNet was their quill, and the galaxy their page. She straightened, eyes on the council's holograms. The next move was hers. The chamber sealed, and the game deepened. The council chamber pulsed with tension, its conduits casting a blue glow across the obsidian walls. Felix Quill's hover disk whined, a faint tremor betraying his unraveling composure. His green skin glistened with sweat as he faced Elena Mercer, her dark blue cloak a stark contrast to the flickering holograms of the Mirror Council. The crystalline data core on the table thrummed, AxiomNet's heartbeat echoing Earth's dominion. Mercer stood calm, her stern features unyielding, the silver trim of her cloak catching the light like a blade's edge. Quill's voice cracked, sharp with accusation. This is extortion, Ambassador! You choked the galaxy with your net. His claws twitched, gripping the edge of his vest as if to anchor himself. Mercer's eyes held steady, unblinking. Extortion implies theft, Mr. Quill. We're collecting what's owed. She tapped her wrist device, projecting a ledger of mere transactions from a century past. Diverted funds, hidden accounts, Earth's loan denial buried in fine print. Your people wrote the rules of greed. We rewrote them for fairness. The holograms of the 12 mere council members flickered, their black eyes narrowing. One, a sharp-faced elder, hissed through the comm. You overstep, human. The Panarch's authority is absolute. His voice carried the weight of eons, but a quiver undercut it. Mercer's lips curved, a smile cold as a vacuum. Authority requires leverage. AxiomNet's quantum encryption locks your alternatives. She swiped her device and a new projection flared. 99. A 999% uptime across 300 star systems. A network unassailable. Your bank runs on our system. Deny it, and your economy crumbles. Quill's disk wobbled violently, nearly grazing the table. His perspective shifted, a gnawing fear clawing at him. The mere, only 2 million strong, thrived on financial control. Without AxiomNet, their markets would stall, their cities darken. He jabbed at his own comm, voice low. Council, we must counter this. Options? The elder's hologram flickered uncertain. Shadow accounts. Old ledgers. We could bypass, Mercer cut in, voice like a whip. Bypass nothing. Every credit route's through us. She keyed a command, and the projection shifted, showing real-time trade freezes. A Saurid delegate burst into the chamber, scales bristling, his towering frame dwarfing Quill. You've locked our routes, he roared, claws scraping the floor. 200 ships, stranded. Mercer didn't flinch. Pay your debts, and they move. Her tone softened, a calculated pivot. Earth offers terms repayment with aid for your outer colonies. Food, medicine, monitored by us. The Saurid's tail lashed, but his eyes flicked to his comm, where AxiomNet's lock held firm. He hissed, defeated, and stormed out. Quill's disk spun, his panic palpable. The chamber's conduits dimmed, as if the bank's pulse faltered. Beyond the walls, alien delegates buzzed, their holograms stuttering with alerts. A nomad trader's voice filtered through, gruff with relief. Earth's terms are fair. My fleet trades again. No bloodshed. His words stung Quill, a contrast to his own spiraling dread. Mercer's thoughts flickered, a rare pause. Pride burned in her chest, humanity's century of grit, forging AxiomNet from scorned dreams. They hadn't just survived, they'd reshaped the galaxy's spine. She pushed the thought aside, focus returning. Mr. Quill, your council has 10 minutes to respond. AxiomNet's terms stand. Quill's claws dug into his vest, tearing fabric. You can't dictate to the Panarch? His voice rose, shrill, but his disc's whine betrayed him. He hovered closer to the council's holograms, whispering frantically, We need time. A recess. Mercer's gaze hardened. Time's a luxury you squandered a century ago. She leaned forward, the data core's glow casting her face in sharp relief. AxiomNet doesn't pause. Neither do I. The chamber's air thickened, the hum of conduits now a low growl. Quill's perspective churned. His race, once untouchable, now teetered on collapse. He saw Ledgera's spires dimming, markets frozen, his people's pride shattered. He gestured to the council, desperate. We must act. She's not bluffing, the elder hologram snarled. We built this galaxy's wealth. Humans are scavengers. Mercer's laugh was soft, cutting. Scavengers who hold your leash. She tapped the core, and a new log flared. A mere account, frozen mid-transaction. Credits rerouted to Earth's humanitarian fund. The council's holograms flickered, faces paling. The elder's voice dropped. What do you want? Compliance, Mercer said, voice clear. And truth. Your shadow accounts won't save you. She stepped back, letting the core's pulse fill the silence. The chamber seemed to shrink, walls closing in on Quill's dwindling options. Outside, the hall erupted. A Veyran envoy's lenses whirred, relaying Mercer's terms to their emperor. Nomads nodded, their fleet's trade routes restored under Earth's protection. The Saurid delegate's comm buzzed with orders to comply, his navy useless without AxiomNet's grace. Quill's disk slowed, his shoulders slumping. He faced Mercer, black eyes wide. You've weaponized trade itself. No, she corrected, voice low. We've weaponized trust. Yours broke first. Her cloak shifted, the Terran emblem catching light, a phoenix rising, unburned. She recalled Earth's long climb, coders on airless moons, engineers chaining algorithms through sleepless years. They'd turned rejection into a net that bound stars. The Council's holograms whispered among themselves, voices muted but urgent. Quill hovered back, his discus hum faltering. You push too far, Ambassador. The mirror won't kneel. Mercer's smile returned, sharp as a blade's edge. Kneeling's not required. Cooperation is. She keyed her device, and AxiomNet's feed updated. Another system's payment cleared, 5 billion credits to Earth's aid programs. The core glowed brighter, a star in the chamber's heart. Quill's claws twitched, his mind racing. The mirror's ledgers, once their strength, now mocked them. He saw his people's future, 2 million souls tethered to Earth's will. His disk dipped, nearly brushing the floor. Mercer watched, unyielding. The chamber's conduits pulsed faster, as if sensing the shift. Delegates beyond the walls pressed closer, their whispers a rising tide. A nomad's voice cut through, awed. Earth doesn't conquer, they rebuild. The elder hologram spoke, voice strained. We'll consider your terms. Recess now. Mercer shook her head. No delays. AxiomNet waits for no one. Her words landed like a gavel, final. The Council's holograms flickered, faces grim. Quill's disk steadied, but his eyes betrayed defeat. The chamber's hum crested, a wave breaking. Mercer stood at its center, the core's light bathing her. Humanity's gambit, a century in the making, now held the galaxy's pulse. She didn't gloat, her focus was steel, her purpose clear. The next move loomed, and she was ready. Quill's voice dropped, a whisper. What are you, human? Mercer met his gaze. The future. The core pulsed, and the chamber held its breath. The council chamber's blue conduits flared, casting jagged shadows across the obsidian walls. Elena Mercer stood resolute, her dark blue cloak a beacon of Terran resolve, the silver phoenix emblem glinting like a challenge. The crystalline data core on the table pulsed, AxiomNet's heartbeat syncing with the galaxy's commerce. Felix Quill's hover disk whined, its erratic hum betraying his fraying control. His green skin glistened, black eyes darting between Mercer and the flickering holograms of the 12 mere council members, their faces etched with defiance. In a hidden chamber deep within Ledgera's spires, the council's whispers grew sharp. Shadow accounts, one elder hissed, voice low through the comm. We reactivate them. Bypass this human net. The plan was desperate, a relic of their embezzlement era, when the mirror siphoned trillions into untraceable voids. Quill hesitated, claws twitching. He knew Earth's auditors scoured AxiomNet's logs, their quantum algorithms sniffing out anomalies faster than light crossed a parsec. Mercer's wrist device chimed, a soft alert cutting the silence. Her eyes flicked to it, lips curving into a smirk. Bold move, Mr. Quill, but foolish. She tapped the device and a holofeed flared, a Veyran technician's nanovirus, a digital splinter aimed at AxiomNet's core. neutralized in zero point 0.3 seconds by Earth's AI-driven firewalls. The chamber's conduits dimmed, as if recoiling. Your allies lack subtlety. Quill's disc wobbled, nearly grazing the table. You accuse us of sabotage? His voice rose, shrill, but his eyes betrayed panic. Beyond the walls, a Saurid delegate roared, his perspective raw with frustration. His 200-ship navy, pride of their empire, sat frozen, trade routes locked by AxiomNet's unyielding grip. We are warriors, not accountants, he bellowed, claws gouging the crystal floor outside. Mercer's response was swift. She keyed a command, and AxiomNet's lockdown protocol activated, freezing 15% of galactic trade in a heartbeat. Holograms stuttered across Ledgera, markets stalling from nomad freighters to Veyran refineries. The chamber's hum turned jagged, conduits flickering. Test us again, she said, voice cold as a void. And it's 30%. Quill's disc malfunctioned, a satirical sputter as it dipped low, forcing him to clutch the table. His confidence crumbled, green skin paling. He scrambled to appease her, voice tight. We seek solutions, Ambassador, not conflict. But his eyes flicked to the Council's holograms, pleading for guidance. Mercer's gaze didn't waver. She activated her comm, voice crisp. Jonah Vale, report to the chamber. Now. The doors slid open, admitting a tall, thin figure with bright mirror eyes and a human's lean build. Jonah Vale, a mere Earth auditor, carried a sleek data slate, its encrypted contents glowing faintly. His mixed heritage made him a bridge, but his loyalty leaned toward Earth's vision of truth. He nodded to Mercer, his straightforward presence a stark contrast to Quill's fluster. The chamber grew taut, 20 alien delegates pressing closer outside, their whispers a rising tide. A nomad trader's voice carried through, gruff with awe. Earth's net is iron. Our ships move again, thanks to their terms. The contrast gnawed at Quill, his people's pride unraveling. Mercer's thoughts sharpened, a fleeting pause. She saw humanity's century of grit. Engineers forging AxiomNet on airless rocks. Coders chaining algorithms through war-torn nights. They turned scorn into a weapon, not of destruction, but of undeniable truth. She pushed the thought aside, focus locking on Vale. Present the evidence. Vale's slate projected a hollow report, stark and damning. Mere transactions from a century ago flickered. Shadow accounts bleeding credits meant for galactic trade. The Council's holograms flinched, their elder's voice a hiss. Lies, fabrications. Mercer stepped forward, cloak sweeping. Truth doesn't bend, even for eons. She gestured to the core, its pulse steady. AxiomNet sees all. Your accounts, your crimes. The projection shifted, showing funds diverted to mere elites. Earth's early integration starved by their greed. Quill's disc is steadied, but his claws dug into the table, splintering its edge. His perspective churned. His race, once untouchable, now faced exposure. Ledgera's spires loomed in his mind, their glow dimming without AxiomNet's grace. He whispered to the Council, "We can't fight this." The elder hologram snarled, "We are the Panarch. We do not yield." But doubt cracked his voice, eyes flicking to Vale's slate. The chamber's conduits pulsed faster, as if sensing collapse. Mercer's voice cut through. You don't yield, you adapt. She nodded to Vale, who keyed another command. The hollow report broadcast to Ledgera's public screens, watched by 1.2 billion across the galaxy. Gasps echoed beyond the walls, delegates recoiling. A Veyran envoy's lenses whirred, relaying the shame to their emperor. Quill's disc whined, a dying note. He hovered back, voice low. What now, human? You dismantle us? Mercer's smile was steel. No, we rebuild, with rules. She tapped the core, and AxiomNet's feed updated. Saurid payments cleared, nomad ships docked, Veyran isotopes en route. The galaxy bent, not by force, but by Earth's unyielding net. Vale stood silent, his bright eyes scanning the council. His presence grounded the chaos, a bridge between mere pride and human resolve. Mercer's thoughts flickered. Tactics, not emotion, drove her. She'd outmaneuvered the mirror with code, not cannons. Truth sharper than any blade. The chamber's hum crested, conduits glowing fierce. Outside, a Saurid delegate's tail thrashed, his navy humbled. Nomads grinned, their fleet thriving under Earth's terms. A Veyran envoy whispered, "They don't conquer, they control." Quill's shoulders slumped, disc slowing. He faced Mercer, his voice a whisper. "You've planned this since the refusal." Mercer met his gaze, unflinching. "We plan to survive. This is the result." Ikhana the core pulsed, a star in the chamber's heart. She stepped closer, cloak catching light. "Call your council's vote. AxiomNet waits." The elder hologram hesitated, then nodded. The council's whispers grew urgent, faces grim. Quill's disc hovered still, his fight drained. Mercer stood at the center, the galaxy's pulse in her hands. Humanity's gambit, a century forged, now tightened its grip. The chamber sealed tighter, the air electric. The next move loomed, and Mercer was its architect. The council chamber crackled with tension, its obsidian walls pulsing with the blue glow of conduits. Elena Mercer stood unwavering, her dark blue cloak a symbol of Terran resolve. The silver phoenix emblem catching the light like a star. The crystalline data core thrummed, AxiomNet's pulse binding the galaxy's commerce. Felix Quill's hover disk faltered, its hum erratic as his green skin paled. The 12 mere council holograms flickered, their black eyes wide with dread. Jonah Vale, the mere Earth auditor, stood tall, his bright mire eyes sharp against his human frame, clutching a glowing data slate. Vale raised the slate, voice clear and unyielding. Evidence, compiled over decades. A hollow report flared, stark numbers painting a grim truth. 50 trillion credits embezzled by mere elites a century ago, siphoned into shadow accounts. The projection traced funds diverted from galactic trade, starving Earth's early integration. "Your greed crippled us," Vale said, his mixed heritage lending weight to the accusation. Quill's disc dipped, claws scraping the table. His perspective shifted, shame burning through his arrogance. He saw Ledgera's spires, once proud, now teetering under the weight of exposed lies. "Impossible," he whispered, but his voice broke, eyes locked on the damning data. Mercer stepped forward, her voice cutting like a blade. "Truth doesn't hide, Mr. Quill." She gestured to the core, its pulse steady. AxiomNet logged every move. "Your elites betrayed the galaxy." She keyed her wrist device, and the report broadcast across Ledgera's public screens, watched by 1.2 billion citizens. Gasps echoed beyond the chamber, a Veyran envoy's lenses whirring in panic as their emperor received the feed. The council's elder hologram snarled, green face twisting. "Fabrications! The Panarch's ledgers are untouchable." But his claws twitched, betraying doubt. Mercer's smile was cold, precise. "Untouchable until now." She nodded to Vale, who swiped his slate. The projection zoomed, showing specific accounts. Elite mere families, hoarding wealth while Earth begged for scraps. Outside, the hall erupted. A Saurid delegate roared, tail thrashing, but his calm showed compliance. 8 billion credits paid to avoid AxiomNet's wrath. A nomad trader's voice carried, hopeful. "Earth's net protects us. 10% profit increase, no strings." Their fleet, now under Terran terms, thrived. The contrast stung Quill, his race's moral failure laid bare. Mercer's thoughts flickered, a rare pause. Humanity's century of grit flashed. coders on frozen moons, engineers forging AxiomNet through scorn. They'd turn betrayal into strength, not for vengeance but for justice. She pushed the thought aside, focus locking on the council. Join the post-mortem trust, she said, voice clear. Co-govern with Earth, atone or collapse. The elder hologram hissed, You dictate to the Panarch? But his voice wavered, eyes flicking to the core's glow. Veil's slate updated, showing AxiomNet processing repayments, Veyran isotopes, Saurid credits, nomad ships. The core pulsed faster, a star swallowing resistance. Quill's disk whined, nearly stalling. His perspective churned, 2 million mire, their economy tethered to Earth's will. He saw markets freezing, spires darkening, his people's pride shattered. You expose us to ruin, he muttered, claws trembling. Mercer's gaze pinned him. No, to redemption. She tapped the core, and a new feed flared. 30 trillion credits rerouted to Earth's humanitarian fund, aiding 50 war-torn planets. Your choice, join the trust, or watch your shadow accounts burn. The Veyran envoy, humiliated by their failed hack, stepped forward. His faceted eyes dimmed, voice low. We pledge to Earth's terms, no more resistance. His perspective revealed shame, but also relief. Earth's restraint spared their pride. He bowed, a rare gesture, and retreated. Veil's straightforward delivery anchored the chaos. His bright eyes scanned the council, unyielding. The trust ensures fairness. 5 years of transparency, then Earth withdraws its veto. His human build stood firm, a bridge between races, but his loyalty was to Earth's. The chamber's conduits flared, their hum a rising tide. Delegates outside pressed closer, holograms stuttering with alerts. A nomad's voice cut through, awed. Earth's net is our shield. We trade for free now. The Saurid delegate, once defiant, stood silent, his navy humbled by AxiomNet's lock. Quill's disk slowed, his shoulders slumping. He faced Mercer, his voice a whisper. You've stripped us bare. No, she said, voice low. We've shown you the mirror. Her cloak caught the light, silver threads gleaming. She recalled Earth's long climb, outposts on hostile rocks, algorithms forged in defiance. Humanity's triumph was truth, not conquest. The elder hologram spoke, voice strained. We'll vote, but this changes nothing. His defiance rang hollow, eyes darting to Veil's slate. The council's whispers grew urgent, faces grim. Mercer stood at the chamber's heart, the core's glow bathing her. AxiomNet's pulse quickened, logging compliance across star systems. She didn't gloat. Her focus was steel, her purpose clear. The trust is your path forward. Take it or fall. Quill's claws dug into the table, splintering its edge. His mind raced. The mirror's ledgers, once their strength, now mocked them. He saw his people's future, 2 million souls bound by Earth's net. His disk steadied, but his fight drained. The chamber's hum crested, conduits glowing fierce. A Veyran envoy relayed to their emperor, Earth leads, we follow. Nomads grinned, their fleet thriving. The Saurid delegates' calm buzzed, orders to comply. The galaxy bent, AxiomNet's threads tightening. Mercer's resolve burned, a quiet fire. Humanity had woven a net not to trap, but to lift. She stepped back, letting the core's pulse fill the silence. The council's holograms flickered, their vote looming. Quill hovered still, defeated. The chamber sealed tighter, the air electric. Mercer's eyes locked on the core, its light a beacon. The next move was hers, and the galaxy watched. The council chamber vibrated, its conduits blazing with a blue so fierce it seemed to sear the obsidian walls. Elena Mercer stood at the center, her dark blue cloak a banner of Terran will. its silver phoenix emblem catching the light like a supernova's edge. The crystalline data core pulsed, AxiomNet's rhythm a heartbeat binding the galaxy. Felix Quill's hover disk trembled, its hum faltering as his green skin glistened with defeat. The 12 Mirror Council holograms flickered, their black eyes darting, caught in the noose of Earth's evidence. Jonah Vale, the Mirror Earth auditor, stood firm, his data slate dim but his bright eyes unyielding. The elder hologram's voice cracked, sharp with desperation. "You force our hand, human!" But the council's vote flashed across the chamber's screens, 8-4, accepting Earth's post-mortem trust. Fear of economic isolation crushed their pride. Quill's disk dipped, his claws trembling as he gripped a stylus, signing the holo contract. The agreement glowed, binding the mirror to 5 years of transparency, Earth's veto power absolute. Mercer's voice was steel, clear. The trust ensures fairness, co-governance, not subjugation. She keyed her wrist device, and AxiomNet's feed flared. 30 trillion credits rerouted to humanitarian aid, flooding 50 war-torn planets with food, medicine, and shelter. The core's pulse quickened, a star swallowing resistance. She stood calm, but her inner thrill surged. Humanity's ascent, a century in the making, now reshaped the stars. Quill's disk steadied, his shoulders slumping. "You've broken us," he whispered, voice raw. His perspective churned. 2 million Mir, their spires dimming, tethered to Earth's will. The chamber's hum turned jagged, conduits flickering as if mourning. Mercer's gaze pinned him. "No, we freed you." She gestured to the core, its light bathing the room. "Your elites hoarded, we rebuild." The projection shifted, showing Saurid contributions, 100 tons of bioengineered grain, logged for Earth's relief efforts. The Saurid delegate, once defiant, stood silent outside, his calm confirming compliance. Jonah Vale stepped forward, his perspective steady. Pride burned in his chest, bridging mirror and human values. "The trust is balance," he said, voice clear. "Earth oversees, but fairness binds us all." His mixed heritage stood as proof, a living emblem of alliance. He keyed his slate, logging the trust's terms, transparency, aid, and accountability. The chamber erupted. 20 alien delegates outside applauded, their skepticism shattered. Holograms flashed. 80% of star systems pledged to the trust, their trade routes secure under AxiomNet's grip. A nomad trader's voice cut through, gruff with awe. "Earth's net is our spine. We prosper." Their 50-ship fleet hummed, profits soaring 10% under Terran terms. A mere dissenter, a rogue counselor, lunged for a comm panel, voice shrill. "We reject this. Our accounts." His words died as Mercer tapped the core. AxiomNet's lockdown protocol flared, severing his shadow account in a blink. Credits vanished, his hologram flickering out. The chamber's conduits roared, a wave breaking. Mercer's calm delivery masked her inner fire. Humanity had turned scorn into a galaxy-shaping blade, not of steel, but of code and truth. She faced the council, voice low. "Resist and you're cut off. Join and you thrive." The core pulsed, logging compliance. Veyran isotopes, nomad ships, Saurid grain. The galaxy bent, AxiomNet's threads tightening. Quill's disk whined, nearly stalling. His black eyes met Mercer's, defeat raw. "You've rewritten everything." His claws scraped the table, splintering its edge. He saw Ledgera's markets, once his race's pride, now Earth's domain. The chamber's screens flared, broadcasting chaos. Mere elites, exposed for their century-old embezzlement, were arrested live. Green-skinned figures in fine vests were led away, their shadow accounts frozen by AxiomNet's unyielding grip. 2 billion watched across the galaxy, Gasps echoing from Veyran hives to nomad freighters. A Saurid delegate's tail stilled, his navy humbled. "Earth leads," he muttered, voice low. Mercer stood unmoved, the core's glow casting her in sharp relief. Her thoughts flickered. Humanity's gambit, forged in rejection, now held the stars. She didn't gloat. Her focus was steel, her purpose clear. The trust was no chain, it was a foundation. She nodded to Vale, who logged the arrests, his slate a quiet sentinel. The council's holograms dimmed, their fight drained. The elder's voice was a whisper. "We comply." His eyes flicked to the core, its pulse a new law. The chamber's hum softened, a held breath released. Outside delegates roared approval. A Veyran envoy's lenses whirred, relaying to their emperor. Earth's mercy is their strength. Nomads grinned, their fleet thriving. The Saurid delegate keyed his comm, pledging grain and loyalty. The galaxy shifted, Earth's net its axis. Mercer's cloak caught the light, silver threads gleaming. She recalled Earth's climb, outposts on hostile rocks, coders chaining algorithms through war-torn nights. They'd built a net not to trap, but to lift. Her voice cut through. Final. The trust begins now. The galaxy watches. Quill hovered still, his disk silent. His perspective shifted. Shame, but also awe. Earth hadn't conquered, they'd reshaped. He saw his people's future. 2 million souls, tethered but not broken, offered redemption. The chamber's conduits glowed steady. AxiomNet's pulse a new heartbeat. Delegates outside pressed closer, holograms flashing with pledges. Mercer stood at the center, the core's light a beacon. The climax broke, and the galaxy exhaled. Vale's bright eyes met hers, a nod of shared purpose. The trust took shape, its terms etched in code and will. Mercer's thrill burned quietly. She'd led humanity to this peak, not with cannons, but with truth. The chamber sealed, the air electric. The stars were theirs to rewrite. The council chamber's conduits dimmed, their blue glow softening as if the bank itself exhaled. Elena Mercer stood at his heart, her dark blue cloak a symbol of Terran triumph, the silver phoenix emblem catching the fading light. The crystalline data core pulsed steadily, AxiomNet's rhythm now the galaxy's pulse. Felix Quill's hover disk hung low, its hum a faint whisper, his green skin pale with surrender. Jonah Vale, the Mare Earth auditor, stood beside his slate, bright eyes scanning the chamber. The 12 Mere Council holograms flickered, their defiance broken by the weight of exposed truths. Across Ledgera's spires, screens blazed with the arrests of mere elites, their century-old embezzlement of 50 trillion credits laid bare. 1.2 billion watched, from Veyran hives to nomad freighters, as green-skinned figures in fine vests were led away, their shadow accounts severed by AxiomNet's grip. The galaxy reeled, the mirror's claim to moral superiority shattered. A Saurid delegate outside stood silent, his tail still, his navy humbled. "Earth rewrites the stars," he muttered, voice low. Quill faced Mercer, his disk steadying. His voice was raw, a public confession. "We were wrong, Ambassador. The lone denial, a catastrophic error." His black eyes met hers, shame mingling with awe. The chamber's hum softened, conduits glowing faintly. He saw his people's future. 2 million mere, tethered to Earth's net, but offered a path forward. Mercer's gaze held, unflinching. "Errors teach, Mr. Quill." Her voice was calm, but her cloak caught the light, a beacon of humanity's rise. AxiomNet's feed updated. Trade volume surged 25%. Market stabilizing under Earth's oversight. Nomad freighters moved freely. Veyran refineries hummed. Saurid grain shipments cleared. The core pulsed, logging it all, a star binding empires. A Veyran envoy stepped forward, his fascetted eyes dim. His perspective shifted, shame warring with admiration. You could have crushed us, he buzzed, voice low, yet you offer terms. Earth's restraint, demanding isotopes and medical aid for 3 million refugees, spared their pride. He bowed, lenses whirring, relaying to his emperor. Earth leads with mercy. Mercer nodded, voice clear. The post-mortem trust is independent in 5 years. Earth's veto withdraws then. She gestured to the core, its light steady. We build, not bind. The chamber's conduits flared, as if affirming her words. Delegates outside erupted in murmurs, 80% pledging to the trust, their holograms flashing green. Jonah Vale activated his slate, voice steady. Audit team deployed, 200 analysts, mere and human, monitoring the trust. His mixed heritage stood as proof. Cooperation was possible. His perspective burned with pride, bridging races, ensuring fairness. He logged the trust's first act. 30 trillion credits for 50 war-torn planets, aid flowing like a tide. The nomad trader's voice echoed beyond the walls, gruff with joy. Earth's net is our shield. Our fleet thrives. Their 50 ships, now integrated into AxiomNet, saw profits soar. The contrast stung Quill, his race's greed exposed while Earth lifted others. A Saurid delegate keyed his calm, pledging more grain, his defiance gone. We seek your guidance, he said, voice low. Mercer's thoughts flickered, a quiet pause. Humanity's journey flashed, from outcasts mocked a century ago to architects of a fairer galaxy. They'd forged AxiomNet on hostile rocks, coded through war-torn nights, turned scorn into strength. Pride swelled, tempered by purpose. She pushed it aside, focus returning. The trust is your future, she said, voice cutting clean. Join it fully. Quill's disc rose, a tentative lift. He faced her, voice soft. How did you endure, Ambassador? Our rejection. His claws twitched, vest torn from earlier strain. The chamber's hum steadied, conduits glowing soft. Mercer's smile was faint, sharp. By building, not destroying. Her words landed like a pulse, echoing Earth's ethos. She recalled the coders, the engineers, the diplomats who wove AxiomNet's threads. Humanity hadn't broken. They'd bent the stars to their will. The Council's holograms dimmed, their fight drained. The Elder's voice was a whisper. We join the trust. His eyes flicked to Vale's slate, logging compliance. The chamber's screens updated, 40 star systems pledged, their trade routes secure under Earth's net. The core glowed brighter, a beacon of order. Outside, delegates roared approval. A Veyran envoy relayed to their emperor. Earth's strength is their heart. Nomads grinned, their fleet docking at Terran stations. The Saurid delegate stood tall, his comm buzzing with orders to align. The galaxy shifted, Earth's netted spine. Quill hovered closer, his disk steady now. You've changed everything, he said, voice low. His perspective softened. Shame remained, but hope flickered. The Mir could rebuild, not as masters, but as partners. Mercer's cloak swept as she turned, the phoenix emblem gleaming. Not changed, rewritten. She tapped the core, and AxiomNet's feed flared. 15 quadrillion credits processed annually, a tide lifting all. Her thoughts turned inward, fierce but brief. Humanity's fire, banked for a century, now lit the stars. They hadn't conquered. They'd crafted. The chamber's conduits pulsed steadily, a new rhythm. Vale stood silent, his slate logging the trust's growth. Delegates outside pressed closer, holograms flashing with pledges. A nomad's voice cut through, awed. Earth doesn't rule. They guide. Mercer faced Quill, voice final. The trust is set. Your people keep their homes, their jobs. Work with us. Her eyes held his, unyielding but not cruel. The core's light bathed her, a star in human form. Quill nodded, disk humming softly. His fight was gone, replaced by resolve. He saw Ledgera's spires, still standing, now tied to Earth's vision. The chamber's hum crested, a wave settling. The galaxy watched, and Mercer stood ready. The air softened, the climax fire cooling. Humanity's gambit, a century forged, now held the stars. Mercer's purpose burned clear, not domination, but coexistence. The trust was their bridge, and she its architect. The council chamber's conduits glowed steadily, their blue light a quiet pulse against the obsidian walls. Elena Mercer stood at the center, her dark blue cloak a symbol of Terran triumph, its silver phoenix emblem catching the glow like a distant star. The crystalline data core thrummed, AxiomNet's rhythm now the galaxy's heartbeat. Felix Quill's hover disk hummed softly, his green skin no longer pale, his black eyes reflecting a cautious hope. Jonah Vale, the Meyer Earth auditor, stood beside his slate, its faint glow logging the post-mortem trust formalization. The chamber's air felt lighter. The climax fire settled into resolve. 40 star systems had joined the trust, their pledges flashing across screens. Fair trade, humanitarian aid, accountability. Mercer prepared to leave Ledgera, her cloak sweeping as she turned to the core. Its light pulsed, now housed in a fortified Earth orbital station, processing 15 quadrillion credits annually. AxiomNet's reach-bound empires from nomad freighters to Veyran refineries, all thriving under Earth's terms. She tapped her wrist device and a final feed flared. Markets stabilized, trade volume up 25%, a galaxy reordered. Quill hovered closer, his disk steady. Reinstated as a junior official, he clutched a data pad, studying AxiomNet's protocols. "We'll learn, Ambassador," he said, voice low but firm. "The mirror will rebuild." His perspective shifted. No longer shame, but purpose. Ledgera's spires, once his race's pride, now stood as partners in Earth's vision. Mercer nodded, her stern features softening a fraction. "You will. The trust ensures it." Her voice carried quiet authority, the chamber's hum echoing her words. She recalled Earth's century of grit, outposts on hostile rocks, coders forging algorithms through war-torn nights. Humanity had turned scorn into a net that lifted, not trapped. Her thoughts flickered, pride tempered by purpose. Jonah Vale stepped forward, appointed trust overseer. His bright mirror eyes and human frame stood as a symbol of alliance, his slate logging the trust's first acts: aid to 50 war-torn planets, 30 trillion credits flowing. "Cooperation, not control," he said, voice clear. His perspective burned with hope, bridging races, ensuring fairness. He nodded to Mercer, a shared resolve. Outside, a nomad trader's voice rang, gruff with gratitude. "Earth's net is our strength. Our 50 ships thrive." Their fleet docked at Terran stations, profits soaring 10%. A Veyran envoy's lenses word, relaying to their emperor, Earth's protocols save lives. Their outer colonies, bolstered by Earth's medical aid, saw 500,000 survive famine. The Saurid delegate, once defiant, keyed his calm, pledging more grain. "We follow Terra," he growled, tail still. The chamber screens flared, broadcasting Mercer's final speech to 10 billion viewers. She stood before the core, its light casting her in sharp relief. "A century ago, you rejected us," she said, voice steady, resonant. "We didn't break. We built. The trust is our offer. Coexistence, not conquest. Humanity rewrote the rules, not to rule, but to lift. Join us, and the stars are ours together." The galaxy listened, from Veyran hives to nomad freighters. Delegates roared approval, holograms flashing green. Earth's Terran Federation emerged as the diplomatic hub, Ledgera's influence waning. The core pulsed, logging pledges, 40 systems, bound by fairness, not force. Mercer's cloak caught the light, silver threads gleaming like comet trails. Quill hovered beside her, his disk humming softly. In a quiet moment he spoke, voice low. "You've changed me, Ambassador, from arrogance to respect." His claws relaxed, vest no longer torn. A faint smile crossed Mercer's lips, a rare warmth. "Good, that's where it starts." Their exchange, brief but human, sealed the mere shift. He saw his people's future, 2 million souls not broken, but renewed. Mercer's thoughts turned inward, a final pause. She was no longer the diplomat who entered Ledgera, stern and untested. The galaxy's weight had forged her, from doubt to unshakable pride in humanity's heart. She led not with vengeance, but with vision, turning rejection into redemption. Her cloak felt lighter, its phoenix emblem a promise kept. Vale's slate chimed, logging the trust's growth. His bright eyes met hers, a nod of shared purpose. "The galaxy's new spine," he said, gesturing to the core. Mercer nodded, her resolve a quiet fire. Humanity's gambit, a century forged, now held the stars. The chamber's conduits pulsed steadily, a new rhythm. Delegates outside pressed closer, holograms flashing with pledges. A nomad's voice cut through, awed. "Earth doesn't conquer, they guide." The Saurid delegate stood tall, his comm buzzing with orders to align. Veyran envoys bowed, their emperor's shame eased by Earth's mercy. Mercer turned to leave, the core's light fading behind her. The chamber's hum softened, and a wave settled. Quill followed, his disk trailing. "Where to now, Ambassador?" he asked, voice steady. "Home," she said, voice clear. "To Earth. The work continues." Her boots clicked on the obsidian floor, each step a mark of triumph. The galaxy watched, its pulse tied to AxiomNet's threads. Ledgera's spires loomed outside, no longer supreme, but part of a larger whole. Mercer's final thought lingered, a whisper in her mind. "We didn't conquer the galaxy. We rewrote its rules with humanity's heart. The trust was their bridge, and she its architect." The stars stretched before her, no longer mocking, but welcoming. The chamber doors slid open, and she stepped into the light.